I know there are so many business owners who think of bookkeeping as a necessary evil, or in some cases, just a plain evil. Many owners of smaller businesses do their books when they can get around to it, which in some cases is almost never. In those cases, they end up spending much more time in money, time, frustration when it's time to file their taxes in particular. So let's talk about that. In this episode, I'm going to cover 3 topics on hiring a bookkeeper. 1. When do I need to hire a bookkeeper? 2. Why should I hire a professional outsourced bookkeeper? And 3. What questions do I need to ask a prospective bookkeeper before I engage with a bookkeeping firm? So let's get into it. First, when do I hire a bookkeeper? I'm going to give you 3 major reasons why you would say it's time to hire a bookkeeper. The first one, which is a very positive reason for hiring a professional bookkeeping firm, is that your business is growing. That typically leads to 2 realities. You have less time to do it yourself, and it's getting more complicated. And even if you have the time, think about the best way for you to spend it. Those extra few hours per month would be far better spent on business development. Also, if you're planning to get external funding, either through investors or a loan, clean, accurate books are an absolute requirement. Another reason, maybe a little less positive reason for hiring a professional bookkeeping firm, is that your current bookkeeping solution is lacking. This could fall into one of 3 scenarios. One scenario is the one I just finished describing. You're too busy and the books are getting too complex. Already covered that. A second one is that you have someone doing it in-house, but either A, the person is not skilled enough to do what's needed, B, the person costs too much, or C, the person has other responsibilities that require more of his or her attention. Let's look at each of those scenarios a bit more closely. So scenario A, the in-house person does not have the proper knowledge and skills to do your bookkeeping. It's not uncommon, for instance, for a spouse to help out the business owner when the business is just getting started. Let's say it's a wife. She teaches herself how to use QBO or Xero. She manages to connect accounts and enter and match transactions. And that's what she keeps doing each month. But there are so many more things that need to be done. Here are just a few examples. Tie out payroll, input depreciation, various end-of-year adjustments. But it may not be a spouse. It could be someone you hired to help with AR and AP or an office manager, and the scope of the job grew to include bookkeeping. I had a former client where the office manager insisted on being the bookkeeper. She was so bad at doing it, both in her failure to do the books in a timely manner, as well as her inability to do them correctly, that the business owner ended up paying us extra thousands of dollars every year to fix the books before we could do the tax returns. If this is happening to you, it is definitely time to outsource your bookkeeping to a professional bookkeeping firm. Scenario B, maybe the in-house bookkeeper is actually doing a fine job. Yet you may have the problem that personnel costs are too high. A full-time bookkeeper should cost you $40,000 to $50,000 a year in salary alone. When you factor in various costs like equipment, software, taxes, benefits, training, you could be paying in the neighborhood of $80,000 or $90,000 per year for your bookkeeping. How would you like to cut that cost by 75% or more? That is an excellent reason to outsource your bookkeeping. Scenario C. So your in-house person is either not qualified, costs too much, or the third possibility is that he or she has other responsibilities that require more attention. Think of the example of an office manager or a shop manager taking time away from other important duties to try to handle the bookkeeping. As your business grows, that employee, just like you, will have less and less time to devote to a task like bookkeeping that will require more and more time as your business grows and becomes more complex. That's when you know it's time to outsource your bookkeeping. We've covered 2 of the 3 major scenarios. Too much for you as the owner to handle, too much or too expensive for your employee to handle. The third one is this. You already outsource, but you aren't satisfied. Here are a few of those potential scenarios. The first one is poor communication, or you can't talk to them when you need to. This is the number one reason people seek new accounting services industry-wide: bookkeepers, accountants, tax advisors, all of them. The industry does not do a good job with communication. That might be a problem that you have. Another one is inconsistent deliverables, which could be related to number one, but they are possibly behind on reporting or inconsistent in meeting the expected date each month that they promised the books would be up to date. This can sometimes happen if a full-service accounting firm is doing both your books and your taxes. Tax season rolls around and tax preparation takes priority, while bookkeeping could take a back seat. A third scenario is you need a bit more explanation or maybe some basic advisory services. The current bookkeeper just sends monthly reports and that's it. You aren't sure what you're looking at and they're not offering to help. You need more insight, some help translating reports to actionable information. Another scenario that fits here is the lack of ability to customize the P&L or the chart of accounts, as well as the lack of reports on things like KPIs, budgets, or forecasts. If you need those services and your current outsourced bookkeeper can't or won't provide them, it's probably time to find a new one. Now, there are other signs probably that it's time to outsource your bookkeeping to a professional bookkeeping firm. I certainly wasn't an exhaustive list. If you have one, drop it in the comments below. Now that you know when to hire a professional bookkeeping firm, you need to know the benefits of doing so. You don't want to merely solve a pain point in your business. You want a good return on your investment. You want to know the value that an outsourced professional bookkeeping firm brings. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should hire a professional bookkeeping firm. First and foremost is you get much needed, accurate, and timely financial records. A professional outsourced bookkeeper keeps your books consistently up to date. This means transactions are entered correctly and reconciled regularly. You get real-time visibility into cash flow and profitability. Errors get caught early, reducing tax or compliance issues later. So the benefit to you, as a business owner, you can make better decisions faster with trustworthy data. A second reason to hire is cost savings versus hiring in-house. As I previously mentioned, an outsourced bookkeeper is typically less expensive than hiring an employee when you factor in salary, benefits, and training, often 2 to 4 times less expensive. With an outsourced bookkeeping firm, you pay only for the services you need. You can scale up or down as your business changes without staffing headaches. And you can eliminate the overhead of managing another employee. The benefit to you as a business owner, you gain expert service at a predictable, lower cost. A third reason is you get expertise and best practices. Professional outsourced bookkeepers work across industries and see hundreds of setups. They bring knowledge of the latest accounting software and automation tools, familiarity with tax and compliance requirements, and experience improving processes for efficiency and accuracy. Let me give you one quick example on the efficiency front. Many inexperienced bookkeepers do not know how, or even that they can, create rules to automatically classify transactions to specific expense accounts so that repeat transactions or transactions from the same source get automatically classified. That's just one small efficiency example. Skilled bookkeepers know a dozen of these maneuvers, and when they work in a firm with other experienced accountants, they really dial in the workflow and processes, which saves you time and money as a business owner. So your benefit as a business owner, you get higher quality books and smarter workflows without having to figure it out yourself. A fourth reason to hire is that you get more time to focus on growth. When you hand off bookkeeping, you reclaim hours every week. Owners can concentrate on sales, operations, and strategic growth. No late nights spent catching up on QuickBooks or Excel. Reduce stress and decision fatigue. Now, I'm not suggesting that any business owner should always have ideal work-life balance. We don't. but handing off the bookkeeping can be an important step in that direction. So the benefit to you as a business owner, your time goes to activities that actually grow revenue, not to lower value administrative work. The fifth and final reason to hire an outsourced professional bookkeeper is that you get built-in checks, security, and scalability. Outsourced bookkeeping firms often have internal controls that you can't easily implement on your own. Segregation of duties to reduce fraud risk, secure data handling and cloud-based systems, the ability to scale to additional services like payroll, forecasting, or even CFO-level advisory services. The benefit to you as the business owner, you build a back office function that's more resilient and future-proof. Again, there certainly are more reasons to make this hire. And if you can think of another one, I invite you to put that in the podcast comments below as well. So now we know when to hire and we know why to hire. The final question is who to hire. How do you know that the bookkeeping firm you're considering can deliver the value and benefits that I just outlined? It can be hard to know. Of course, one good indicator are reviews from other clients of the firm. But it can also be good to have a set of questions to ask when you're interviewing them for the job. I want to briefly give you 10 questions to ask. Think of these as your due diligence checklist. So here we go. Number 1, what's your experience with businesses in my industry? Here's why it matters. Industry-specific expertise means they'll understand common expenses, revenue patterns, and compliance issues. But one caution, there's typically significant overlap from one industry to another. I'd argue that in most cases, bookkeeping is 80% the same across industries. So you wouldn't want to eliminate a firm on this question alone. A second question to ask is, what bookkeeping software do you use and why? Here's why it matters. You want software that integrates easily with your systems, your POS, payroll, CRM, and that offers real-time access. Now, one caution for you on this one, some bookkeeping firms, and I'm specifically targeting some of the national ones, use their own proprietary software platform for bookkeeping. And in some cases, that means it can be very difficult to nearly impossible to leave because you don't own your own books. A third question to ask, how often will my books be updated and reconciled? Why it matters? The frequency of updates determines how quickly you get actionable financial data. Now, one caution, monthly reconciliation is pretty standard. In some instances, quarterly is sufficient, and in some cases, twice per month may be a necessity. The more frequently you want work done in your books, the more you should expect to pay. Don't get overzealous about how often your books need to be reconciled. For the vast majority of small businesses, monthly reconciliation is sufficient. A fourth question, what is included in your standard monthly package? Here's why it matters. You want clarity. You want to clarify whether services like accounts payable and receivable, payroll, sales tax, custom reporting, and or even tax preparation are included or billed separately or not offered at all. Here's a caution for you. There are pros and cons of having one firm handle 100% of your tax and accounting needs. If you're trying to get an all-in-one solution, you need to do more due diligence. You can be certain that every high-performing bookkeeping firm has expert partners to handle the aspects of tax and accounting that they don't do themselves, so don't let that scare you away from them. The fifth question, how do you handle data security and confidentiality? Here's why that matters. Bookkeepers handle sensitive financial data. Ask about encryption, secure file transfers, and access controls. Here's your caution. No firm's system is 100% hack-proof, but you should expect that the firm is taking all reasonable, standard, and best practice steps to secure your data. Sixth, who exactly will be working on my account? Here's why it matters. You need to understand if you'll have a dedicated bookkeeper, or if it's a rotating team, If there's a supervisor overseeing your books, who are you going to be talking to? One caution: you should not be surprised or overly concerned if some or all of your bookkeeping is done by professionals in another country. As long as your data is secure and you're comfortable with the other answers regarding who's working on your account, you can proceed confidently. For example, if you have a dedicated credentialed bookkeeper overseas who's supervised by a very experienced manager and a dedicated stateside account manager communicating regularly and effectively with you, you can have a very positive and rewarding experience. The seventh question is, how do you communicate updates or issues? Here's why it matters. You need to decide if you prefer scheduled meetings, email summaries, a shared dashboard, and test responsiveness on this. A good accounting firm, a good bookkeeping firm will be able to accommodate your preferences. Now, one caution is this one definitely falls into the category of you get what you pay for. Be sure to articulate your expectations regarding deliverables and that the firm provides deliverable details in writing. Number 8, what's your process for error detection and fraud prevention? Here's why it matters. Good firms have internal checks and segregation of duties to catch mistakes early. Another caution for you, again, no firm's systems are 100% foolproof, but you should expect your bookkeeping firm to have systems, processes, and accountability that meet or exceed generally accepted accounting practices. Question number 9, how do you handle scaling up as my business grows? Here's why that matters. You want to confirm that they can easily add services as you grow, services like budgeting, forecasting, or CFO level insights without disruption. Here's your caution. Again, a bookkeeping firm may not handle those services internally, but they should have trusted partners and a process to seamlessly connect you to them and work with them to provide a comprehensive solution for your tax and accounting needs as you grow and scale. The 10th and final question, can you provide client references or case studies? Here's why that matters. Real testimonials or case studies show reliability, accuracy, and the ability to grow with a client's needs. And here's your final caution for this question. Don't expect firms to give you current client contact info to call them and question them about their experience. You know what it's like to be a busy business owner. You don't have a lot of extra time to field those kinds of calls or emails. Neither do your bookkeeping firm's clients. Google reviews or client testimonials on the firm website are likely as good as you'll get on this front. So there you have it. I know I downloaded a ton of information in this podcast. I encourage you to use the show sections menu to go back and review the parts that you need when you need them. When to hire, why to hire, with the related benefits, as well as questions to ask a prospective firm. If you heed the advice that I provided in this podcast, there's a great chance you will find a professional bookkeeping firm that will become a long-term partner and trusted advisor to you. And if I can give a shameless plug for my firm, Telos Bookkeeping, I'd love the opportunity to earn your business if it's time for you to outsource your bookkeeping to a professional. Thanks for watching. If this episode sparked ideas or brought value to your journey, hit subscribe here for more insights that empower small businesses to thrive with purpose. Dive into more episodes here to keep learning, growing, and making an impact. See you next time.